Russian stock trading hot on New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. Russia's central bank ordered the Moscow Stock Exchange to close following the invasion of Ukraine. Trading was halted in certain Russian companies on the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. The value of Russian stocks traded in London tumbled to become almost worthless. The London Exchange later suspended dealings in dozens of firms. The Russian Finance Ministry is to use $10 billion from the Sovereign Wealth Fund to shore up shares in domestic companies. Sberbank, Russia's biggest, was forced to cease its operations in Europe permanently. A ban of Russian aircraft from US and EU airspace has gone into effect. America and the EU banned Russian airlines from their airspace. Sanctions also prohibit the sale or supply of aircraft to Russia, which includes planes that are leased to Russian airlines. Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok block access to RT, that's Russia Today, and to other Russian propaganda outlets. Russia is facing spot isolation over its Ukraine invasion. The sporting world also stepped up to the plate. FIFA and UEFA banned Russian football clubs and the national team from participating in international tournaments. UEFA also terminated its lucrative sponsorship deal with Gazprom. Roman Abramovich, who was mentioned in the British Parliament as a possible target of sanctions, put Chelsea, or disparagingly known as Chelsea in London, up for sale. He has owned the Premier League side since 2003. After a U-turn, Russian and Belarusian athletes were banned from the Winter Paralympics. Oil prices soared, although US and allies get oil reserve release. Oil prices soared despite a move by America, Europe, and others to release a collective 60 million barrels of oil from their reserves. That attempt to tame prices was upset by the decision of OPEC+, which includes Russia, to maintain modest production increase for April. America and other countries have pressed the cartel to ramp up output further. Brent crude reached roughly $115 a barrel. Booming energy prices push EU inflation up. The Eurozone's annual inflation rate hit 5.8% in February, a fourth consecutive record. Energy prices were 31.7% higher than a year earlier. The EU typically relies on Russia for 30 to 40% of its natural gas. Toshiba CEO said that it resigns amid opposition to restructuring plans. The chief executive of Toshiba unexpectedly resigned less than a year into the job. His predecessor stepped out in April last year amid an investor revolt over the future of the conglomerate. It says a revised plan to split in two will still be put to shareholders at a meeting later this month, but there is fresh speculation that Toshiba might be subject to another bid to take it private. Zoom issues disappointing revenue as growth continues to slow. Zoom's quarterly earnings disappointed investors. The video conference company is dealing with a sharp slowdown in sales as more people abandon home working and return to the office. Revenue grew by 21% in the 3 months to January 31st year-on-year, compared with 191% last spring. Zoom share price has lost over 3/4 of its value since it peaked in 2020. Teenager who followed Elon Musk's jet turned to Russian oligarchs. A first-year undergraduate at the University of Central Florida, who hit the headlines by tracking the movements of Elon Musk's private jet, has turned his energies to the flight patterns of Vladimir Putin and Russian oligarchs. Jack Sweeney's new Twitter handle, "Argue Oligarch Jets," so far tracks around 40 private jets registered to the tycoons of the companies. He said he didn't think Mr. Putin would be leaving Russia anytime soon. Western business pull out of Russia. Western companies responded to the tough sanctions introduced by America and its allies for retrenching from Russia. After 3 decades in the country, BP is getting rid of its stake in Rosneft. BP could face a $25 billion write-down. Shell is ending its joint ventures with Gazprom. ExxonMobil said it will pull all its investment in Russian oil and gas. Total will not make any further investments outside energy. Musk and MSC, the world's biggest shipping line, suspended services to Russia. Apple said it would no longer sell iPhones there. Daimler Truck, Jaguar Land Rover, and Volvo will not deliver cars to the country. Ford suspended its Russia operations. Dell halted its sales in Russia.